is Christmas Eve, and your city is hard working out there for you. So I appreciate you taking the time to tune in today. We are here at City Hall, but I can tell you there are a lot of people out there working. I can't tell you how proud I was this morning. I got up early and just to see what was going on in our community and the number of people that were working that are city workers. I certainly live out by the airport. I could see the lights out there from the tower before the sun came up this morning, and I could hear the engines, so I knew people were out there traveling today. It's a busy day, a lot of our citizens traveling, and your city is out there working hard to make sure that you can get to where you need to go. At the same time, I could hear garbage trucks out there picking up. Sanitation services running today. If you have a Monday pickup, we are out picking you up this morning. So again, we were there, and I know our police are working, and our fire department is working. I delivered 2 dozen donuts for the 24th. I gave them 2 dozen donuts and delivered those today. Went by the police station. So I know we are working hard today for you, and we'll be working this week. Now, city offices will be closed after noon today. They will close. We will be closed for tomorrow and Wednesday, reopening at 8 o'clock on Thursday. So again, we will be back open 8 o'clock on Thursday morning, and we will be closing today at noon. So if you need something from the city, a permit, something else, you may need to talk to a different department. We will be closing today at noon in observance of Christmas Eve and the Christmas holiday tomorrow. As far as what's going on this week, it now marks almost 1 month. This is my 4th chance to do this, so we are moving forward on several things. Last week was a very busy week. We had some very good meetings, met with several things with Parks and Recreation. I'm very excited about the opportunities that are going there. I had a chance to talk with some people out there, the tennis groups at Roger Scott. My understanding, we will be doing repairs to the hard courts out there, and we're looking at potentially other repairs, although some of those will require the tennis community to participate with us if we are looking to do additional improvements out there to the tennis facility. So we'll certainly be looking to do that. There are other recreational projects in the works, and we're very excited about that. Unfortunately, I guess last week we did have, I think when we came here, we had an individual get hit at one of our functions, going between 2 of them. She was walking. Carolyn Growley, who is in charge of the Center for Independent Living, that certainly I called her and contacted her last week, and I was certainly sorry to hear about her accident, but I know she's recovering well, but still it was one of those accidents we wish didn't happen. In that, I can tell you that we are looking to make some things safer there on Palafox. We already are moving forward with a diet from Jackson down to Wright Street. So we'll be looking at a diet there that will be taking it down to 2-lane traffic with parking on the sides and bike lanes. And we're trying to, again, get us more extending that Palafox corridor for walking all the way up to Lee Square. So again, we are working on things. We realize, our goal was to make walkability better and easier, and we're certainly doing that. The other big thing from this past week was we did have a meeting on Friday with several groups related to the ST Aerospace, the Project Titan, the additional 3 hangars. We are moving forward with hangar number 2, and again, we have funding for probably $180 million of our $185 million of our $210 million. So we're still about $25 million short. But we did meet with both Senator Broxton was there and Rick Harper, who's involved with the Economists for Triumph. And I think our team, we had everybody there from our team, including our federal lobbyist, Dan McFall, was here in town, and he was in attendance as well. And I can tell you our team is committed to, we're going to find a way. Now, I don't exactly know how that $25 million is going to be made up, but I can assure you state, federal, and Triumph we'll be looking at all those and to have a solution. So we had a very good meeting Friday, and we're beginning that process to nail down the remaining funding that we need to get Project Titan done. Other than that, it's a little bit lighter week with being off Tuesday and Wednesday. But again, your city offices will open back up on Thursday, and we will be here. With that, we will that's all we were going to talk about today. I will say I'm very impressed that Rick Allison, he showed up to be here as a member of the media, so we will answer any questions. Rick, the floor is yours. You have all the media questions.
All right, let's go back to Project Titan.
Okay.
Project Titan is for 3 or 4 additional?
Three additional hangars.
Okay, so we're going to already begin the work on the second hangar?
We're beginning the design work on hangar number 2. Correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right. So if nothing else happens, we're going to get at least an additional hangar?
Well, we're certainly going to move forward in the design. We are working with ST. I mean, they are committed to wanting to be here. They are committing, though, to wanting to have a 3-hangar process. So we have timelines that we have to meet in the design and construction. So we are trying to move forward with the design work at this particular time, so that we won't miss any deadlines there. Again, from our standpoint, we had a good meeting. Like I said, we had federal, state, and Triumph people there, and everybody is committed to figuring out our $25 million shortfall. I can't tell you how it's going to be made up at this particular time, or where it's going to divide out. But I can assure you that we are committed to finding that, and it's our number one solution that we have going into the session for the next 90 days. And again, we're pressing not only in Tallahassee but in Washington as well. So again, we're hitting the ground running, and we'll continue to work at that one.
All right, at the Northwest Florida delegation meeting, it got reported that Senator Broxton was sort of negative about the ask from the legislature, but in talking to others, I'm not sure it's as negative as it was reported.
I think the idea is that if we're asking for $25 million in this year, in 2019, 2020 fiscal year,
right,
it's probably unlikely that we will get that much money in this one fiscal year. We reminded them on Friday that what we need is the money over 4 years. So it could be pushed out into latter years. We have a lot of the money to move forward with Hangar 2 at this point.
Right.
In fact, what we're needing is really further out years.
Mm-hmm.
So at this particular time, in fact, we have all the money we need to do Hangar 2. And so, from that standpoint, we don't need it for a few years out. So at that point, I think the senator was willing to look, knowing that he doesn't have to do it all in this year. Mm-hmm. The other part is, there was discussion of what we could do from dealing with some federal grants, what we could also do, potentially talking back with Triumph. Is there a mix? Is there a division at which it happens? Some money comes from the state, some money comes from the Triumph, some money comes from the feds. Again, I don't know what that looks like, and nobody was committing to any specific amount. But I think everybody was around the table saying, okay, we understand in the next 4 years, we've got to figure out how to close this 25 million gap, and we've got to have sort of the commitments to it to know where we are by the end of March.
All right, has Dan McFall been working on this project before?
Dan was hired. He is he's with Ballard Group, as you know. Right. Dan McFall used to be with Congressman Miller's office.
So he's new to helping in this project.
He has been helping with this project. My understanding is before I've come, he was representing. He did the EDA grant that we got $12.25 million from the federal government. Okay. So we have that commitment. It came in a couple of weeks ago, and Dan was helping us as a lobbyist in getting that. Now, Dan certainly doesn't think we're going to get more money this specific year either, but he believes in the out years we'll be able to do things, and we may be able to get, he doesn't think we'll get $25 million either, but he also is confident that we can find money there. We can find money at the state, and we can find money at Triumph. That was what we had the conversation about on Friday, and I do believe everybody left that meeting. We're not letting Project Titan get away, and so we're committed to figuring out how we do that.
All right. Last week you announced that Susan Wolf, you're going to nominate her to be the city attorney.
Yes.
Tell us about that process, because Licia Bowling is one of the few joint hires between the council and the mayor's office. Is she still an employee? Has she resigned as city attorney? how's the process gonna go?
She has resigned as city attorney effective, I believe it's January 15th.
Okay.
She will resign that position at that point. What we are looking at trying to get done right now is to bring Susan in on February 1st. We've made some transitions within the legal department after the 15th we would be having Rusty Wells will be deputy city attorney, which means he will be acting city attorney in the interim while we don't have a city attorney. But we will have to get Susan confirmed. Now the good news, this is always the interesting part. We've been working with her to get her on board, and again, she didn't want to make any announcements last week until we had a chance to talk to the city council. Obviously, once we notified the city council that we were going to be bringing her name forward, at that point, it's public record. So we made the announcement. We had 2 meetings last week with her. She met with both Councilman Wingate and Councilman Tahar, and we had very good meetings. We have also offered up the opportunity to any other council members. Obviously, with the Christmas break, some members were saying, hey, we're just not available right now. But at least we did make everybody aware, and what we've been hearing back is fairly positive. Very positive from the employees, and seems to be very positive from other council members. So from that standpoint, our expectation is that I think there's mostly positive feeling about Susan coming in. Mainly, there's positive feeling about looking to go sort of where we were going back to what we used to do as the city and have sort of an in-house council, a stronger in-house council. There seems to be a very support for that, and so that's what we're excited about. And everybody I've talked to, at least several people in the legal community as well over the weekend, I've been getting very big good feedback from about Susan.
Is Ms. Boland staying with the city?
She is. She is transitioning into a position that Rusty Wells was in. It's a contract employee with the finance department, Dick Barker. So she will be transitioning into that position.
All right. Is there any severance that she's being paid?
There was some position of severance from her difference of the salary. So I know there were some particulars on it. I don't have the exact details of that.
Do we know how many employees have severance packages as part of their employment agreement, other than the standard 2 weeks?
Again,
Can we get that information? Can I get that information?
80?
80.
There are 80 contract employees. I know that much.
But have more than a 2-week severance? Yes. All right. Can I get that list?
We can.
I know we're in the holidays. I'm not pressing for it right today or really even this
Rick,
week.
we'll get that to you. And again, I'm sorry that I don't have a better conversation for you, because I'm sort of just getting my hands around all these things. So
But you've been here a month.
We're getting it. And there's no doubt. I know that I talked at length with Chris, and that's one of the things he did not think it was normal for a municipality of our size to have that many contract employees. That is going to be something that we're going to be working to change as we move forward. But at this particular time, that's where we're just going through this.
Okay. You mentioned that Parks and Recs, that there's some other projects in the works. Can you give us just a little detail about what the projects are that y'all are?
Obviously,
what does that mean in the works?
There are a couple things that are happening. One is there's some improvements planned for Legion Field that are going to be very exciting. That we're dealing with getting a new playground and a new baseball diamond, or more like I was told a younger t-ball sort of diamond, kid pitch kind of diamond out there. We're going to make some improvements to the actual football field, the press box and some other things. So we're going to be doing some improvements there. We're also looking, the big one will be what will happen with soccer. There's been a tremendous need for soccer fields. I know there's some contention about what is happening out there in the Scenic Heights area, looking at Hitzman and the expansion. At the end of the day, though, there aren't many choices for us to be able to make this. And the opportunity that we're looking at with the YMCA, that is a real opportunity for us to secure our future with soccer and really look to some things that we can do with programming with the Y. I think it's very exciting. I did meet Friday with the YMCA. They are very interested in taking a lot of their programming that they had in that building, and they just did not feel, they felt like they were falling behind in facilities there, and they want facilities in that area where they feel like they can partner with us and offer us real opportunity in that area, is partnering with the Vickery Center and coming in there and looking to build a building at the Vickery Center for the Y, and really beginning to partner with the city asset of the Vickery Center already there.
And they're running the swimming pool.
That's exactly what they're looking to do too.
So,
They're looking to take over the swimming pool. We discussed the ability to, what several other Ys across the nation do with a bubble in the swimming pool, so that we can actually become, we can do some swimming year round. So, there was a lot of discussion we talked about with them doing the swimming pool, and they had a swimming program themselves. They had a pool out there at the other facility, but I don't think they feel like they're doing as good as they're doing as they can do, or they feel like we could be much stronger if we merge our things into one. We turn them over with programming, and they can take over and help us with some assets. We also feel that we'll get the soccer fields that we need. We would have 3 regulation size fields, but that any of those fields could be then divided into smaller, because certain ages only need a field that's so big, but so we can divide that, and we feel that there'll be parking. Now, there's no doubt that there is concern in the neighborhood in Scenic Heights, and we're going to make every effort to mitigate every problem we have. I heard a lot of conversation about traffic and slowing down traffic. I met with the engineers they're doing the engineering, and there's the potential for us to look at all kind of other traffic calming that would help get cars in and out, but also really slow down traffic on Langley. That's the one concern I've heard, is being able to get cars in and out.
You've got ST Engineering coming in off of Langley, as well as doing the soccer complex.
Correct. And I think there's an overall concern about having more people go to events. The one thing is they really won't typically overlap. I mean, most of that soccer field will really be used more on the weekends and things. And the idea of what I've also talked with Brian Cooper about is we don't want our playing fields, to necessarily be practice fields. We would like to see teams still go out to parks and neighborhoods. We have a lot of parks. Everybody keeps talking about the 93 parks we have. We have a lot of neighborhood parks that could be used for practice facilities, so that we are not wearing on the grass that we have on playing fields. And I realize that this time of year it's a little difficult because the sun, but we are blessed to have a lot of sunshine and opportunities that we really are wanting to work with some of our associations and see if they can do more of their practice time off of the playing fields. We're going to work through this. It's like everything else; it's a work in progress. But we think ultimately we still think we can mitigate a lot of the traffic concerns about Langley, and we can also we can work through other things. Again, I know for a long time there was a plan when I was the commissioner dealing with what's the Bermuda Triangle, which is that Tiffin, Langley, 9th Avenue triangle. And again, I know there's a lot of concern about what happens if you move Langley. But if we move Langley, you might be able to move ST Aerospace from a different entrance and not have them go there. I'm not saying we're going to do that. I'm just saying there are options for us. So as we work with the neighborhood, we're going to make sure that we look to mitigate from them everything that we can in helping to move and circulate traffic in a better way, and to make sure that we don't have speeding and on Langley and other issues that have been concerns.
Good deal.
I mean, all I can say right now, Rick, is that's going to be a part of the process, how we can mitigate.
Good deal. I got what I need.
Okay. Well, those are the things we're looking at, and I think there are some other things that are also happening within our parks. So I don't want to say that's the only thing that's going on. I will say I know, and I look forward to the transition team comes forward. I know I met with Isaac Williams and I met with Sacred Heart on last week, and we were both meeting with Baptist the first of the year, and I think he's trying to schedule up a chance to meet with West Florida. But there's absolutely the chance for us to use some of our community centers to work with community health. The first thing that Sacred Heart told us was that if we could just find ways, especially our children, and the opportunity for them to have a regular contact with a physician, would be something good. And even though they do clinic days or free days at Sacred Heart or other hospitals, the fact that it takes you and you have to get up there with your family, if you could come to a community center, we think it would be less of an issue. And we are hoping, maybe we could have something like quarterly days. But these are all things, I might be getting ahead of myself with what may come out of the transition team. But my point is, there are a lot of things we're looking at on those assets, whether it's community centers, whether it's ball fields and recreation. My interest is to figure out how we can utilize those and have them a lot better utilized for the community. And doing what we do. And again, I think it's, that's one of the things about the Victory Center that was exciting to me. If I can get the Y there and I can get them doing programming, I can do even more things in that area, really, for the whole region out there in the north area, northeast area of the community, and the Y's down here already in downtown. So again, these are things as we're moving forward. I know one of the other things I've talked with Brian Cooper about is doing more programming with the arts at Woodland Heights. It was supposed to be designed to be more of an arts cultural center, and we have not been able to fill a position there for programming. So, that's something I want to do and find an opportunity to really get the programming also there. So there are a lot of things we can do at our community centers.
Thank you.
Well, without, I see one of my transition team members, Brian Weir, is in the audience in the back. I appreciate Brian being here. Merry Christmas to everyone. We're gonna end out. The city will be closing here in about 2 hours at noon today. But again, hopefully you stay safe out there. Merry Christmas, and we'll look forward to seeing you next Monday for the last one for 2008 before we have the new year. So thank you very much for being here today.